The wind howled across the icy plains, carrying flakes of snow that stung Alex's face. His boots sank into the deep snow as he pushed forward, every step a battle against the freezing storm. The planet's harsh climate was nothing like Earth's mild winters, but Alex had learned to adapt. He had traveled far across this frozen world, searching for signs of life and forgotten settlements. Tonight something felt different, a small sound cutting through the roar of the wind. He paused, listening carefully. There it was again, a faint trembling cry. It was soft, almost lost in the storm, but Alex's human instincts told him not to ignore it. He scanned the horizon, his eyes narrowing. There, half hidden behind a mound of ice, he spotted a small figure shivering violently. It was a child, but not human. Her skin glowed faintly in the dim light, pale blue and almost translucent. Her eyes were enormous, filled with fear and confusion, and her thin body shook as she tried to curl up against the snow. Alex's heart clenched. He had faced dangerous creatures and harsh weather, but seeing a helpless child in danger awakened something deeper in him. He didn't hesitate. He sprinted across the snow, kicking up powder with every step. When he reached her, she flinched at his approach, letting out a frightened whimper. "Hey, it's okay," Alex said gently, his voice low so it wouldn't scare her more. "I'm not going to hurt you." The girl didn't understand his words, but she could sense the warmth in his tone. Alex carefully knelt and opened his heavy coat. The storm's wind cut through even the thick fabric, but the coat was better than nothing. He lifted her small, fragile body into his arms, feeling the tiny weight of her against him. She trembled violently, and he held her close, wrapping the coat around her completely. "Shh, you're safe now," he murmured, walking carefully back across the snow. Each step was a struggle, the wind trying to push him back, but he focused only on keeping the girl protected. She clung to him, her small hands gripping the coat tightly. Her breathing was rapid and shallow, and he could feel the fear radiating off her like heat from a furnace. Alex looked around, trying to find any sign of where she had come from. There were no footprints nearby except her tiny ones, half buried in the snow. Whoever had been with her was gone. That thought made him tense. He didn't know if she had run away from someone or something, but he knew one thing. He couldn't leave her here. Not alone. After some time, he found a small overhang in the ice, a natural shelter against the wind. He placed her down gently on the cold ground and lifted the edge of his coat to cover her completely. She looked up at him with wide, glistening eyes, shivering under the heavy fabric. He knelt beside her, studying her features. "You're cold," he said. "I'll keep you warm. Don't worry." The girl tried to speak, her small mouth forming sounds that Alex couldn't understand. He tilted his head, trying to make sense of her alien language. Her voice was melodic and soft, like wind chimes in the distance, but it carried fear and confusion. Alex smiled gently, hoping she could feel the reassurance in his expression. He pulled a small device from his pack and scanned the area. Nothing. No signs of nearby life, no predators, no energy signals. She was alone, lost, and completely vulnerable. Alex felt a surge of determination. He wasn't just a traveler anymore. He was her protector. "All right," he said, standing up and holding her close again. "We're going to move, okay? I'll get you somewhere safe." The journey was slow and exhausting. The storm had not lessened, and the snow was thick, making every step a struggle. Alex adjusted the coat around her, shielding her face from the worst of the wind. She clung to him, sometimes resting her head on his chest, sometimes trembling so violently that he worried she might break. Every time she shivered, Alex's resolve strengthened. He couldn't let anything happen to her. Hours passed. The landscape was unchanging, a sea of white broken only by jagged ice cliffs and frozen ridges. Alex's mind raced with questions. Who was she? Where had she come from? Why was she alone in such a dangerous place? And most importantly, how could he keep her safe until he found answers? At one point, the girl cried out suddenly, pointing ahead. Alex looked and saw nothing at first, but then a faint glow appeared in the distance. A cluster of lights, perhaps another settlement or a base. Hope surged in his chest. "Hang on," he whispered. "We're almost there." As they approached, the wind died down slightly, revealing a small village nestled between two ice cliffs. The structures were alien, built with smooth curves and glowing panels. People moved within, noticing the glow from inside the buildings. The girl's trembling increased, and she hid her face in Alex's coat. He could feel her tiny hands clinging to him tightly, her grip desperate. Alex took a deep breath and walked toward the nearest building. The villagers stared as he approached, their faces a mix of curiosity and caution. He could see that the girl recognized something here, but she still did not relax. "Hello?" Alex said, raising his hand slightly. "I found her outside. She's alone and scared." One of the villagers, a taller alien with bright, reflective eyes, stepped forward. "Who is she?" The alien asked in a voice that Alex could barely understand. I don't know," Alex admitted. "She's just a child. I found her in the storm." The alien's expression shifted from curiosity to concern. She should not have been outside alone. "She is important," Alex frowned. "Important? How?" Before the alien could answer, the girl made a small sound and her body reacted strangely. Her skin shimmered faintly, a ripple of color moving across her arms and legs. Alex froze, realizing that she was not an ordinary child. There was something powerful about her, something he could not yet comprehend. The villagers whispered among themselves, and Alex could see worry and awe in their expressions. The taller alien looked at him, then at the girl, and spoke again. "You have kept her safe from harm, human. That is brave. But her safety is more than you can guarantee here. She belongs with her family." Alex nodded, understanding the warning. "I'll stay with her until she can be returned." He looked down at the girl who peeked out from under the coat, her wide eyes meeting his. There was a trust there now, a fragile connection formed in the storm. He felt a deep responsibility to her, stronger than anything he had experienced before. Night fell, and the village lights glowed warmly against the darkness. Alex sat with the girl wrapped in his coat, keeping her close and shielding her from the cold. He didn't know what danger still lurked outside or who might be looking for her, but he felt certain of one thing: he would not let anything happen to her. As he drifted into a light sleep, the girl whispered something in her language. Alex didn't understand the words, but he felt the meaning behind them, a mixture of fear, gratitude, and hope. He gently rubbed her back, murmuring, "I've got you. You're safe now." Outside, the storm continued to rage, but within the small shelter, warmth and trust began to grow. Alex didn't yet know the full story of this small alien girl, nor did he understand the significance of her family. But one thing was clear: his humanity, his courage, and his care had made a difference in her life. And in a universe filled with uncertainty, that difference could be the start of something extraordinary. As the night deepened, Alex's mind wandered to questions he couldn't yet answer. Who was her mother? Why was this small, fragile girl alone in such a dangerous place? And what forces were already moving to find her? He would need to find the answers soon, because the universe had a way of catching up with those who tried to protect what was precious. For now, though he held her close, feeling the steady beat of her tiny heart against his chest, in that moment, in the middle of a frozen alien world, Alex understood something fundamental about being human. Courage was not just facing danger. It was choosing to protect, to care, and to stand firm when the world tried to crush those who were vulnerable. And as long as he could, he would do exactly that. The morning light broke over the icy cliffs, casting pale gold streaks across the village. Snow continued to fall lightly, but the storm had softened, leaving only a gentle, cold wind. Alex adjusted the heavy coat around the small alien girl, still asleep in his arms, her breathing slow and steady. He had spent the night keeping watch, listening for any movement beyond the walls of the shelter. As he stepped outside, the village seemed quiet, almost serene, but he knew better. In a world like this, danger often came quietly, hiding in shadows, waiting for the vulnerable. He scanned the horizon, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing on him. Protecting her was more than he had anticipated. Every step he took was a promise to keep her safe, no matter what. The girl stirred, her eyes fluttering open. She blinked up at him, and for a moment fear crossed her delicate features. Alex smiled gently, holding her close. "It's morning." "You're safe," he said softly. She hesitated, then leaned slightly against him, a silent acknowledgement of trust. The villagers had begun to gather, moving through the narrow pathways between their homes. Their eyes were filled with curiosity, but also caution. They knew this child was special, and they could sense that her presence in their village was not by chance. Alex understood their concern. He had never seen anyone like her before. Small, fragile, yet carrying a quiet power that seemed to ripple through the air around her. Before he could ask more, A sudden alarm echoed across the village. The sound was low and vibrating, unusual for the small settlement. Alex instinctively tightened his hold on the girl and scanned the horizon. A group of figures was approaching through the snow, moving quickly and with purpose. They were not villagers. Alex's mind raced. "We need to move," he told the girl, his voice calm but urgent. She nodded slightly, hiding her face against him. He began to lead them toward a narrow passage between the cliffs, a route that would take them out of sight and give them a chance to escape if needed. The approaching figures were tall, clad in armored suits that glinted in the morning light. They moved with precision, their weapons visible and ready. Alex realized that these were not ordinary hunters. They were trained, professional, and dangerous. The villagers had been right. The girl's presence here had attracted attention. As they moved, the girl's skin began to shimmer faintly, reacting to the tension in the air. Alex noticed it immediately. The colors shifted subtly, like liquid light moving across her arms and legs. He had no idea what it meant, but he knew it was important. Whatever she was not an ordinary child. The passage opened into a small clearing, sheltered by jagged ice formations. Alex stopped, crouching behind one of the larger ice walls. He placed the girl down gently, keeping the coat wrapped tightly around her. "Stay here," he whispered. "I'll protect you." The figures entered the clearing cautiously, scanning the area. Alex's heart pounded, but he forced himself to remain still. He knew he had to act quickly. His human instincts, his quick thinking, and his understanding of the terrain were his best tools. When one of the armored figures moved too close to the ice wall, Alex sprang into action. Using a piece of broken ice as a distraction, he toppled a small boulder that slid across the snow, creating noise and confusion. The figure stumbled and the others turned in surprise. Alex seized the moment, grabbing the girl and running toward the narrow tunnel that led deeper into the cliffs. The girl clung to him tightly, her small hands gripping the coat as if it were a lifeline. Alex felt a strange warmth in that grip, a connection that went beyond words. He didn't know who she was or why she was being hunted, but he knew that he had to protect her no matter what the cost. As they moved through the icy tunnels, Alex noticed subtle changes in the girl's behavior. She began to murmur softly, words in her alien language flowing like music through the air. The light in her skin pulsed gently, almost in rhythm with her voice. Alex had no idea what she was saying, but he sensed her emotions: fear, hope, trust. They emerged from the tunnels into a wider cavern, illuminated by faint natural light filtering through cracks in the ice. It was a safe space for the moment, and Alex allowed himself to catch his breath. The girl looked around, her eyes wide with curiosity and wonder. She had never been here before, yet she seemed to recognize something about the place. Suddenly a voice echoed through the cavern, calm, commanding, yet filled with concern. "Child, are you safe?" The words were in the girl's language, but Alex could sense their meaning. The girl's skin glowed brighter and she turned toward the sound, her expression shifting from fear to recognition. From the shadows stepped a tall figure, regal and graceful. Her presence was commanding, yet there was warmth in her eyes. Alex instinctively stepped in front of the girl, protective. "Who are you?" he asked. The figure smiled faintly, looking at Alex with a mixture of curiosity and respect. "I am her mother," she said, her voice calm but carrying an undeniable authority. "And I have been searching for her." Alex felt a moment of shock. He had not expected this. The small girl in his arms, the one he had protected through the storm and from danger, was the daughter of someone important, someone powerful. He realized then that his actions, simple and human, had brought him face to face with a being of influence. The girl's mother stepped closer, her gaze softening as she looked at her child. "You have kept her safe," she said, turning to Alex. "You risked yourself to protect her. That courage. It is rare." Alex nodded, feeling both pride and humility. "I did what I had to do. She was alone and she was scared. I couldn't leave her." The mother studied him for a moment, her eyes reflecting both gratitude and surprise. "Humans are different," she said softly. "They are fragile yet strong in ways we often underestimate. You have shown bravery, compassion, and resilience, traits that matter more than strength alone." Alex glanced down at the girl who now rested against her mother, her small hands reaching up to touch her. He felt a sense of relief knowing she was finally safe. But he also felt a strange mixture of awe and responsibility. He had acted out of instinct and humanity, yet the consequences of his actions were far greater than he had imagined. The mother turned back to him. "There are forces in the galaxy that would harm my child to gain power," she explained. "You have protected her from them, human. That is no small thing. Your courage has earned my trust." Alex swallowed, realizing the weight of her words. He had never sought recognition or reward. He had acted simply because it was the right thing to do. Yet here, on this alien world, his humanity had made a difference that spanned beyond anything he had ever known. The girl looked up at him, her eyes shining with gratitude and something else, recognition, as if she understood the depth of his actions. Alex smiled, ruffling her hair gently. "You're safe now," he said. "No one will hurt you." The mother nodded, her expression softening. "We must return to the city. There is much to explain, and the galaxy is watching. But first, we must honor the one who kept her alive. You human have done more than you realize." Alex felt a mixture of humility and pride. He had started the day as a traveler alone in a storm following a faint cry. Now he stood before beings of immense power and influence, having earned their respect not through might or technology, but through simple acts of care and courage. As they prepared to leave the cavern, the girl clung to Alex for a moment longer, then slowly released him to follow her mother. Alex watched, a quiet smile on his face, knowing that he had made a difference in her life. He had protected her when it mattered most, and that act of humanity would echo far beyond the icy cliffs of this world. The journey back to the city was tense, but uneventful. The mother and her entourage moved swiftly, guiding the girl through the harsh landscape. Alex walked beside them, feeling a mixture of awe and humility. The city ahead was magnificent, built with alien architecture that gleamed in the light. It was a place of power and influence, yet the girl's small hand in his reminded him that even the greatest cities and the strongest leaders were meaningless without the courage to protect those who could not protect themselves. As they entered the city gates, the girl's mother turned to Alex. "You have done what many could not," she said. "You have shown that humanity, though small in the universe, can possess courage that rivals the greatest powers. Your actions today will be remembered." Alex nodded quietly. He did not need recognition. He had acted from the heart, and that was enough. But hearing her words, he felt a deep sense of connection, not just to the girl he had saved, but to the galaxy he had glimpsed in all its complexity and danger. For the first time, he understood that heroism was not about weapons, power, or technology. It was about choice. It was about standing firm when others would flee, about caring when others would turn away, and about risking everything to protect the vulnerable. The girl looked up at him one last time, her eyes full of trust and gratitude. Alex smiled, feeling a warmth that had nothing to do with the cold outside. In that moment, he knew that his actions had made a real difference, that humanity, his humanity, had a place in the vast galaxy. And as the city swallowed them into its bright streets and towering spires, Alex felt something he had never felt before, a quiet, unshakable certainty that even in a universe filled with danger and uncertainty, one human,